mich nicht.
Hallo, hallo.
Hey, hier, ist Ethan.
Oh, hey, alles in Ordnung? Du warst auf einmal verschwunden.
Ja, nein, mir geht's gut. Mir geht's gut. Es ist Mia. Sie ist nicht tot. Sie lebt, sie ist zurück.
Sie wurde gefunden. Wie? Was ist passiert?
Ich weiß nicht, tja. Ich weiß nicht wie. Aber sie ist zurück. Wieder zurück. Vielleicht ist es ein Scherz. Sie will, dass ich komme und sie hole.
Wo ist sie?
Dalby, Louisiana.
Mann, es sind jetzt 3 Jahre.
Ich weiß. Aber was, wenn sie es ist? Ich muss rausfinden, was passiert ist.
Hello and welcome to Night Talk. I'm Fate,
I'm Patron Thor.
and tonight's episode we will be talking about the Mongolian Deathworm.
Dum, dum.
Now, did you know what this Mongolian Deathworm can do?
No, I do not.
It
Let's hear
can spit yellow acid that literally just disintegrates and kills targets on sight.
No kidding.
Yes.
Where does this deathworm exist?
It exists in Mongolia,
Uh-huh.
Asia, Africa, and we've just confirmed sightings in Arizona and Mexico.
Oh my gosh. How long does this thing get?
It gets about the range of 2 to 7 feet.
Oh my gosh. So it's not a huge monster, but it is big enough to basically do an impact.
It can shoot electricity at you to stun you.
Which wouldn't be impossible considering there are eels who can distort a pulse of electricity.
Oh
So
no,
that
this
would only-
shoots
that would
lightning,
only-
like
that would only-
physical, like you could see the lightning attacking. Eels, on the other hand, use it as like a defense mechanism.
Well, they use the water as a source to shock, but I'm saying it wouldn't be impossible for this creature to basically do what they do, but
Yeah.
on land. Maybe it uses the sand. Wow.
And yeah, but it builds up a lot of pressure in itself to create that acid.
Uh-huh.
And it's a yellow slime, and it once it gets you, there's no cure for it.
So it's very venomous, if you could say.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe more venomous than the common known snake venom.
Oh, beyond.
Beyond?
Beyond.
Oh, wow.
Like, once you're hit, you're dead.
That is insane. So
Its main attraction is livestock and humans. It hunts humans.
So we're the targets. We're
Yes,
the prey.
we are the prey.
Interesting. So this venom used on livestock and or humans.
Yeah.
They say it's strong enough that it basically, once you get sprayed with it, like you said, you're gone at that point because it instantly kills you almost.
Almost. Like for a human, it could spit at you, and then
Maybe depending on where you got it.
yeah, you're fucked either way.
Yeah. So if you get it in the eyes, the ears, the face, you're done.
Yep. Because you're
You're
blinded, you can't see. It's already burning out your eyes.
Yeah.
The-
Well, anywhere there.
Your
where
your
it's
eye
stuck.
is now pudding to it. It will feast upon it like butterscotch pudding on rye.
So when is the last known report of this creature?
1,000 years ago.
1,000 years
Yes.
ago. Interesting.
It was the last sighting of it was 1,000 years ago.
Oh wow.
And one of our researchers, Ivan McCur, I forget his last name, but it's Mac. Ivan Mac, we'll call him.
Uh-huh.
He was a Loch Ness. He was a part of the Loch Ness monster detective
Oh, wow,
detective
okay.
part. So he was researching everything.
Yeah, he has some experience.
Yeah, and they traveled with a group across the Gobi Desert
Mm-hmm.
just to find it.
Oh wow.
And they don't think it's a worm at all. They don't. They think it's a
What do they
part.
think it is?
They think it's a lizard worm hybrid. But
Lizard worm hybrid.
yeah, because definition of worm is something that needs to be in ground, moist grounds.
Yeah, moisture.
Otherwise,
It
the
dries
sun.
up and dies.
Yeah, it shrivels up and dies. But from reports, from people say that it is a smooth-bodied worm
Okay.
with no legs and furious teeth.
Almost like a weird looking
Like-
gross snake.
Imagine like a caterpillar, like a caterpillar with circular teeth.
7 feet long.
Yes, And
they call it the intestine worm for a reason, right?
it looks like an intestine.
It looks like it.
And the range of it is about the size of your intestine, of your large intestine.
The diameter.
Yep, the diameter and everything. So, what you're dealing with is something no man has ever seen.
Now, for a cryptid, this is pretty interesting because, the normal ones that we've covered so far are far larger from what this is.
Yeah.
But this seems to have a huge, dangerous level of, with the toxic venom. It's a worm that apparently can go in and out of the ground real quickly in the sands or the deserts. They say that its natural habitats is deserts.
Yes, deserts and just anywhere in sand.
So, some parts, I guess, of Arizona would no doubt have them.
Yeah.
If they're in Africa. I know we were talking earlier about the whole smuggling thing. There's no question that something like that could be smuggled anywhere.
Not even smuggled. It might have, when you're gathering materials like sand, because, the United States, they do import sand from the deserts over in Africa, the Gobi Desert, and anywhere in the Middle East. We import sand.
Uh-huh.
And they don't check it. They don't check what's in the sand.
Pretty much just like what happens with the tarantulas in the jungle with the bananas.
Or with the African fire ants that
they kind of stow away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they can stow away, and they won't even attack at that point. They'll remain dormant because there's movement afoot when on the ocean, so they will remain calm.
But once they get on land...
and they know that they're safe, all hell will break loose.
So is it possible that these creatures still exist to this day?
I believe that maybe a larger version is hiding among us.
Okay. Which, with our research of all the cryptids, there's always that thing we say is you can't say it's impossible.
Yeah.
It could be very likely that these things are running around.
Yeah, exactly.
Ich arbeite nur mit Profis. Apropos, pass auf, dass der Ton in Ordnung ist. Nicht wieder so wie in Amarillo.
2 Jahre her, verdammt.
Keine Nachvertonung. Der neue Typ? Ich seh's nicht.
Schon wieder?
Sei nur nicht überrascht, wenn wir auswechseln müssen. Neuer Plan. Wir machen zuerst einen Rundgang im Inneren, danach filmen wir das Intro.
Genau wie immer also. Nur, sag diesmal den Namen der Sendung, okay?
Kein Problem. Heute bei Sewergators.
Now this is German language with Arabic subtitles, correct?
Exactly, and just for entertainment purposes only. During the words and so on that goes on, we will remain silent. So if we do slight pauses for a bit, it's only for your entertainment.
For the audio?
Yes.
What game is this?
This is Biohazard 7.
Is that a Resident Evil game?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
After, the first 6 games that they made, that's not, any side ones that didn't follow the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc.
Uh-huh.
Resident Evil... From Capcom, they were going into from horror to action.
Yes.
And this game was actually pretty much the best point to bring horror back to Resident Evil.
Yeah.
To bring back classic horror. And what they also did, which made it really awesome too, it's in first person.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. It would not have been the same in third or bird's eye or whatever it is.
You are this character.
You have to have the first person view.
Especially in VR. In VR,
I would imagine
control.
Now, I have seen people play this game. I'm not a big fan of playing these types of games. Just because I get freaked out. But the ratings on this game, some people say it's one of the scariest games they've ever played, to the point of exception of Outlast and some of those other games. Outlast, I think it is.
Outlast, Slender Man.
Yeah, the really creepy games. The games I consider more scarier, more horrifying than actual horror movies that they claim to be the scariest.
But Amnesia is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because you're in a castle.
Uh-huh.
An abandoned castle, you have no memory of yourself,
Uh-huh.
and you're fighting yourself.
Yeah.
You're fighting memories of yourself and monsters phantoms that literally hide in the shadows that deplete your mind.
Yeah, so it's really a battle against yourself and these things that you don't even comprehend, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trying to verse yourself against Cthulhu or something. You can't.
You really don't have a choice.
You can't comprehend it. You cannot comprehend the idea of Cthulhu if he was real.
Yeah. No, for some it's a lot to take in, and just like the Deathworm, the Mongolian Deathworm, as they say. So what color is this acid that it shoots, just for everyone to know out there?
It is a nice yellow.
So very noticeable.
Like if you were, let's say if you were able to touch it, it's supposed to feel like slime, like those Play-Doh slime things that you can get in the store, or if you add cornstarch and water or something together, that chemical reaction where it's like it turns itself into a liquid and a solid.
Yeah.
I think I'm wrong with the water and so on with that, but it makes that kind of feel.
Okay, but it's very acidic.
It's so acidic. Like it's like launching your own stomach acid at somebody. Your own, like if you were to pull out your own acid, add a little bit more thickness to it, and just throw it at somebody.
Yeah, add the acidic level to it.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be what theirs is too much for. It must be greater because that's pretty potent of a toxin.
Well,
if it
think
burns
about it.
on
Like
site.
its body can literally shoot lightning, electrical beams at you, just so it can stun you to shoot at you.
Interesting. Could some classify this as maybe an extraterrestrial, alien type of form?
It could be. It might. Just like how we were discussing in our last episode about, the Thunderbird, which could theoretically transform itself into a shapeshift.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, did you notice that in every episode we have talked about shapeshifting, which is going to lead us into our all-time special episode of shapeshifting creatures.
Yeah. I personally believe you gotta have an open mind, obviously, when talking about these things.
Have an open mind, be a skeptic, be both.
Yeah, you gotta be a skeptic.
Because if you're a skeptic, you're gonna listen to this and be like, no way.
Well, you have to question it. Otherwise, if you don't question things, then technically you're not even... You're not trying to find out the truth. You're just going with whatever the flow is.
Yeah.
You're not trying to swim against the current, You're just trying to...
You're a salmon.
Yeah.
You are a salmon going upriver. All you've known and bred was going up that hill, up that river, breed, and die.
Yeah.
That is if you follow everything you are told without question. So, and we want to give you the open mind. You can believe us, you can research it.
Well, I think the whole point of this is to bring it to attention. Not only are we investigating and researching these things and trying to educate ourselves more about it, but maybe to get other people to do so too, Oftentimes I talk about cryptids to people, and they look at me like they don't know what I'm talking about, as if I'm speaking a foreign language. And, to me, it's one of the most common talked about things outside of zoology and geography.
Or like, the apocalypse, war, and then Planet Nibiru. And like Nibiru is supposed to hit in October. The end of days is upon us.
As they say.
There's a planet that's flying right into us, and with its moon. Like it has a moon. It's like Nibiru and it's like Star Destroyer or something. It's literally like a whole other name. And it's, we have our oceans, which do not mix.
Yeah.
We've seen evidence that the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean does not mix together when you see them. So, and that is in the biblical sense of the apocalypse happening.
Yeah. Well, recently, even in the past 10 years, there's just been a lot of occurrences that have been pre-prophesized, that have basically been coming true now. There's always that question, is it one of those conspiracy things where it's a pre-planned thing? Who's planning it? That's the real question. But no, you're right. These odd occurrences have been happening, and it seems like it's either going to be death by a mega worm, Or
death by a Sasquatch, death by a skinwalker, death...
No. I don't think Sasquatch would kill us.
I think Sasquatch, you know, think about it like this. If they're hiding, right?
Okay.
They're hiding from mankind.
Yeah.
They're the missing link to our evolutionary chain.
As far as we know.
Well, in theory. Like, if they're there, you know, there's sightings of them. And what we need to think of, how many are there? And if they're hiding, do they have an army? Are they smart enough that during the end of days, will they show up? Will they join us? Or are they going... Or are we human beings, are going to think of them as the enemy? And that's where it comes down to it. Because we don't have to think, hey, they're here to join us in the fight against whatever.
Whatever it is.
Like, if it's aliens...
Well, that's the question. What if they are the aliens?
Well, then what...
But I'd like to think that, in the end, they would not want to associate with this, just because over the years, yeah, they have remained elusive, and there are a few sightings. I think they're smart enough to know that mankind, over the thousands of years that we've been alive, especially the thousands of years, not dating back 100,000 years, but maybe 2,000 years, where we have done nothing but complete destruction of not our own society, but other societies and other cultures, other animals. We've literally, as humans, put animals in extinction. And I think that these creatures are smart enough, and that's why they remain elusive.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, because when it comes to extinction, so it's supposed to be 1 to 5. And species are supposed to extinct naturally.
Yeah.
You know, per a course of 100 years or I think it was like 20 years.
Okay.
We have increased that by like 4 folds. That's 4 times as much. And it's because of our overpopulation, our pollution, and our hunts. Because every time we're, you know, we've lost a lot of like birds. We've lost a form of rhinoceros.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to lose.
I mean, it even goes down as far as a hellbender salamander. And salamanders are the what they call the I'm trying to find that word.
Gott sei Dank habe ich dich gefunden. Ich bin's, Ethan.
Ethan?
They're talking.
Ethan?
Bist du in Ordnung?
I'll try to think of the
Du
word
solltest
while I
nicht
do the
hier
audio
sein.
on this bit.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Du hast mich kontaktiert.
Nein, hab ich nicht.
Nein!
Hab ich? Hat dich jemand gesehen? Hat dich gesehen?
You need to get out of here. You need to go now.
They are an indication species. That's the word I was looking for. An indication species
Wir müssen gehen.
is a species that indicates whether or not the natural land is healthy or not. And the hellbender salamander has been put on the extinction list, on the verge of it at least, because
endangered,
of the fact,
severely endangered.
Because they even have to have secret places where it's, you know, Federal Reserve for their own. They're just specifically them, just to keep their species going. Because once their water source is polluted via soda bottles, trash, aka humans,
whatever pollutes
humans.
Yeah,
Pretty
humans
much,
in general.
Humans are the only ones that have so far in polluted water. They die off. And then once they die off, they're gone and they're out of the area. And that's the biggest problem, is as humans, we don't even think about ourselves sometimes. We just go and do.
China's pollution. You could see it in space.
Yeah.
So it's like
bizarre.
And they have the most beautiful panda bears.
Yeah. Until we make them go extinct too.
Well, they're already endangered. And it's sad enough as it is, but it's like, I want to say Darwinism, forced Darwinism.
Yeah.
Because those panda bears aren't going to like evolve itself to mankind's standard of like, we're intelligent, we know kung fu, we can
it's not
eat
gonna be
dumplings.
like Panda, the Panda movie.
Yeah, it's not going to be
Kung Fu Panda.
Not going to be Jack Black's special Kung Fu Pandas.
Whoa.
Whoa. We might be in like copyright with
I didn't
tones.
do anything. I just said whoa.
Sieh mir nur, was hier los ist.
Okay. All right. But yeah.
Well, that leads me to ask, like the bison, how the immense number of bison that we killed. What if, just like all the other cryptids,
they're delicious.
At a certain point in time, what if humans were part of the reason why there are such few sightings of these creatures now? What if there's been some kind of, say, secret program, or some I guess, secret form of life that never was really passed down where people hunted and killed these creatures.
I don't know. I think that scientists like have grabbed DNA of every animal that they've studied, and they have them in a lab. So when we have the technology far advanced enough to clone or reproduce said animals through a gene splicer.
With how we want.
Yes.
Okay.
Or to try to get them as close enough to the original thing. Kind of like how Jurassic Park was, where they used gene splicing
from frogs
to make exactly.
Huh.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can definitely do that nowadays. I know for a fact that our advancement in technology is a lot greater than what people tend to acknowledge sometimes. If you think about it, 1,000 years ago with this Deathworm, if you think about it, 1,000 years ago, where were we as a society of humans? We had nothing like we do now. And who knows if a few people thought about it. I couldn't imagine being in that era. So 1,000 years from now, that would put it at, what, 1017 AD?
It would be about, we'd be, wait, what?
1,000 years minus 2017 would be 1017. So, I mean, during that era, it was survival. It wasn't, there weren't any technologies that we have now. There weren't any technologies we had 200 years ago. It was basic survival off of natural-made weapons, natural-made homes, natural-made living styles. And pretty nomadic.
We only lived up to about 27 to 30 based on the fact, like, years past.
Depending.
So. Well, depending on what culture you're from, which area, like, studies show where the age limit is.
And studies also show there's been elders that range up to 80, 90 years old. So
well, the oldest person on Earth that, lived was 189. And he lived in...
Can you clarify what year was that? When
that was actually from... What was it? 17? It was in the 1700s. He saw a form of change of government in Asia, in China and everything.
Yeah.
He saw from like two forms to like the Meiji era and going up to another one.
Oh wow.
So he was able to see different laws and happen.
Well, that's a long time,
Yeah,
see that kind of stuff. I mean, nowadays laws and stuff can change literally within days or months. I can only imagine 100+ years.
And he had a secret, and he actually told, the best way to live on forever, to get the best out of your life was to never stress. Always,
Which nowadays seems pretty impossible.
It's all in the mindset, really, because he'd play his neighbors and friends games, and he'd let them win, only just for to make them happy. He'd be happy, and
basically to spread happiness.
Just because he was joyed, he'd make other people happy. He never had a worry, because life was to him. Should not be miserable, should not be at a point of yes, you could be sad, you could grieve. After all, if you're living 198 years old, you've already seen your family pass, you've seen time itself and everything change.
Yeah.
So, and he lived. He lived on and he was happy. Oh. He meditated, he ate rice, tea, and just sat outside, just hanging out doing his thing.
Yeah.
And he did that for years.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why our society is so diverse nowadays. Is there's too many things going on at once.
Well, we're told
and
to.
We can't just focus on being happy.
Well,
and like they say, the pursuit of happiness. That's the thing, is they wrote it down as pursuit of happiness is because we're not given happiness unless we choose to be happy. Otherwise, we spend almost our eternity of our life, a lot of people, pursuing this happiness that they maybe experience, maybe they don't. Maybe they experience it for a year before their death. But I think, just like that guy, what the point is we choose to be happy or not. And we can be positive from every little situation. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, because they say pursuit of happiness, but at the same time, we can kind of choose to be happy or not. We could be, say I'm given a scoop of ice cream and you're given 2 scoops of ice cream. I can either sit there and be jealous and negative the fact that you got 2 scoops of ice cream, or I can be positive and grateful that I got 1 scoop of ice cream and just be happy with it that we both got ice cream, and that's it. And I think that's what the guy what was his name? Do you remember?
I do not remember.
Maybe we'll do that for another episode. We'll check into that guy. Maybe he's a cryptid.
He might be. He might be the New Delhi, the monkey of New Delhi.
Or what are you?
The Dalai Lama.
Is that what they're called?
No. The cryptid is like the monkey of New Delhi.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And
so not the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, not the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is a shaman, like priest thing in
not
Asian.
A llama.
Not a llama. He's not a llama one bit.
Not a llama.
Not a llama.
Llama.
But
that's a weird word.
It is 2 L's and AMA. I can't read this.
Is it in what, Arabic or German?
It's in Arabic, but the voices are in German.
It's interesting they give you that option.
You really shouldn't have come here. Who is this? What's going on? We don't have much time. You gotta get out of the house now. I don't know the rest. I played the game too many times to...
Well, it's weird because it's in Arabic subtitles and then German speaking, German language. Kind of throws you off. It throws me off. But that's pretty much all we had about the Deathworm right now.
Yeah, this is really just like really a short episode.
Well, I kind of had an idea the other night that just to tell the fans, it's an idea now. Basically, that we could recover anything that we've already done in the past. All you have to do is ask us to do it, and we will gladly do so. And we will dig in deeper and come out with a little bit more information about everything. What do you think about that?
Oh, you mean going back to... Yeah, we
say
can...
someone episodes from now says, hey, can you redo the Black Shuck? You know, let's get another thing about the Black Shuck. And boom, bam, boom, we're doing another episode about it. But you guys have to ask.
Yeah.
Until then, we will just keep doing what we're doing. This has been Patron Thor.
And Fate 2250.
This is Night Talk, and we're signing out. You all have a great night.
And have a wonderful, creepy evening.
Avidose, and...
Good night.